If it's Friday night, oh yes, it is Strictly Sports. Hello, friends. It's Anthony Floyer here with you for another edition of Strictly Sports. Glad to have you with us as always. We're gonna start the show off tonight with the Bulls Corner. Bulls Corner is how we're gonna start things off tonight. It ended a little while ago, Game Six, and it's not just any edition of the Bulls Corner. I'm afraid I have some bad news. I'm afraid it's the season finale of the Bulls Corner, as the Chicago Bulls season has ended. The Boston Celtics, just like they did in games 3 and 4, they kicked the door down and made themselves at home at the United Center. And that's exactly what happened here tonight. And the Boston Celtics advance into the second round of the NBA playoffs, and they will be squaring off against the Washington Wizards. Game one of that series will be, and no rest for the weary, game one of that series will be in Boston on Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock on ABC. So that's that. So we'll get into that in a moment. But let's I'm gonna run down what's going to be coming up here on this edition of Strictly Sports. In addition to our season finale of the Bulls Corner, in addition to the season finale of the Bulls Corner, we're also going to have, unfortunately, we will have to get into the what happened with Aaron Hernandez. Aaron Hernandez committing suicide. Sterling Marte getting suspended by Major League Baseball. Madison Bumgarner injured in a dirt bike accident. Grayson Allen staying for his senior season at Duke. And in our double main event, we have a double main event here tonight. First half of that double main event, we are going to preview the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs, which is already underway. And to wrap it all up, we will have our very first Major League Baseball power rankings for this 2017 season. So stand by and get your green beans ready, and let's have a fun night here tonight. Of course, I'm joined by Girl MF Michael Fletcher, awaiting our other colleague, Michael Bullock. Michael Bullock running late. We will hopefully have him on before the night is over. I'm sure he's got to be very happy where he is right now as his team advances into the second round of the NBA playoffs, and they did it in grand style, as Gorilla Monsoon famously said at WrestleMania 5. Oh boy, they did it in grand style, all right. Putting away the Chicago Bulls tonight. And, well, quarter by quarter breakdown, 30-23 Boston after one. And then Boston outscored Chicago 24-18 in the second, so it was 54-41 at the half. But it was in the third quarter that really put it away, 34-18 in favor of the Boston Celtics. And it ended up being 88-59 after three. And then the Chicago Bulls actually would win the fourth quarter, but too little too late, 24-17. And the final score for the night, Boston Celtics 105, Chicago Bulls 83. They advance into the second round of the NBA playoffs for the Chicago Bulls and their wonderful fans. This season is over. And I'll tell you what, I don't know if I ever saw a more phoned-in performance than I saw tonight. I mean, you thought MF and I were upset because of the ridiculous officiating that went down just 2 nights ago in Game 5. Celtics didn't even need the refs' help tonight. I mean, Chicago just gave up. That's all there is to it. I mean, I did not see. I mean, they basically played like the New York Rangers in Game 3 against the Montreal Canadiens a couple weeks ago in the Garden. They had no balls. They had no bark. They had no bite. And most of all, they had no sense of urgency. Hello, your season's on the line. And if I was a Bulls fan in the United Center, I not only would have walked out, I would have demanded a refund. Good Lord. I mean, I had never seen a more phoned-in performance than I saw tonight. And even though Jimmy Butler had a solid game tonight, I will give him that. I'm not even going to acknowledge any Chicago Bulls in my 3 stars of the game. My 3 stars of the game are all Boston Celtics. Number 3 star, Isaiah Thomas. He had 12 points to go with 6 assists and 5 rebounds. My number 2 star, Al Horford. 12 points, 7 assists, 6 rebounds. And my number 1 star is Avery Bradley. 23 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists. I mean, Jimmy Butler, the only Chicago Bull that really showed up tonight. He had 23 points and 7 rebounds, but I mean, all the other guys basically, I really didn't see much of anything. So, give you the numbers here. The Boston Celtics shot 39 out of 80 for 48.8% from the field. Chicago Bulls, 32 out of 81 for 39.5% there. 3-point shooting, all Boston. 16 out of 39 for 41%. The Bulls, 4 out of 19 for 21.1%. Free throws, Chicago, believe it or not, actually won that. 15 out of 17, 88.2% for them. And Celtics, 11 out of 18 for 61.1%. The rebounding edge, Chicago actually won that as well, 45 to 43. The assists, all Boston in this one. 28 assists for the Celtics to only 13 for the Bulls. Turnovers, the Bulls committed 13 turnovers. Celtics only committed 9. Celtics had 7 steals. The Bulls had 5. Block shots, 5-2 in favor of Boston. Celtics committing only 14 personal fouls. The Bulls committing 16. Nikola Mirotic picked up a technical foul, and Jay Crowder picked up a technical foul as well. Time of the game, just about 2.25 hours, 2 hours and 13 minutes. Mike Callahan, Bill Kennedy, and James Williams were your game officials, in case anybody wanted to know. And like I said, if you're a Chicago Bulls fan, you're ashamed and embarrassed. I mean, I know I sure am. You think about the Chicago Bulls, you think about the legacy that team had, especially in the 90s, when you had the likes of Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Steve Kerr, Horace Grant, Bill Cartwright, B.J. Armstrong, John Paxson, Tony Kukoc, Luke Longley, and Bill Wennington. And, of course, in some people's eyes, the greatest coach of all time, Phil Jackson. And an amazing front office. And then this. I mean, first 2 games, we're actually excited. We're thinking, oh my, we got a chance for something special here. A chance for a rare 8-1 upset. Oh boy, were we wrong. Where was that Bulls team in the first 2 games? Where were they? They didn't even show up after that. Boston Celtics, they played like a team on a mission. They clearly had the sense of urgency. They clearly had the bark. They clearly had the bite. And most of all, they had the balls to put the Chicago Bulls away. So, a tumultuous offseason. I mean, remember, there was a lot of drama and infighting during this Bulls season anyway. A lot of injuries to deal with in the whole 9 yards. But I'll be honest, I grew up a Boston Celtics fan with Michael Bullock back in our early days, back in our young days, back in the days of Bird and McHale and Parrish and all them, and the late, great Reggie Lewis, God rest his soul. It was right around the record-setting 72-10 team, and then the following year in 97, that's when I slowly but surely became a Chicago Bulls fan. Back in the heydays of Jordan and all of them, the second three-peat. And then we had some rough times, some hard times. Yes, I will admit it. You know, a lot of bad years, a lot of meh seasons. But right around 2005, 2006, you know, that's when they started to, you know, get it going again and everything else. And then a few years ago, I mean, here's a team that in 2011 and 2012 had the best record in the Eastern Conference. And I think in 2011, they had the best record altogether. And that year, They went all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals before they lost to, the overhyped and overrated Miami Heat back then. LeBron and D Wade and all those guys. And then, they've had some halfway decent seasons and the whole 9 yards. But I'm sorry. How the Bulls made the playoffs was beyond me. I mean, they won because of some silly tiebreaker with the Miami Heat. Let me tell you something. Miami Heat, far and away, deserved to be in the playoffs more than the Bulls did. Let's not kid ourselves. Miami had a much better second half of the season than the Bulls did. And after what we got tonight, I hate to say it, but I'm ashamed and I'm embarrassed to be a Chicago Bulls fan. And I hope that all those living legends out there who made the Bulls famous in the 90s, I hope that they're ashamed and embarrassed as well. Because Bulls fans, you deserved much better than what you got tonight. Never in my life have I ever seen a more phoned in and phony performance. You call that a team performance? Please, give me a break. That was a dud, and you all know it. But there are two Chicago Bulls fans in particular I feel so sorry for more than any two. Not just you, MF, Michael Fletcher, but also Matt Ward. Matt Ward's got to be pitching a fit right now. And if he is, I hope he is. I wouldn't blame him if he does. Because he, MF, me, and all other Chicago Bulls fans out there, especially the ones who walked out tonight, you deserved way better than what you got tonight. And if you Bulls fans were any smarter, I would have asked for my money back. Plain and simple. I'd want my money back after that. I want to go there and see a team performance in a close game. What we got tonight was an absolute dud and a snooze fest. Thanks for the free nap. I'll take it any day. So, but it is what it is. They got a lot of things to do in the off season, and you front office people, good luck trying to make next season a better season. You got a lot of free agents, including Dwayne Wade and Rajon Rondo, Mirotic, and Michael Carter-Williams, and so many others. But if we're gonna stick around, if we're gonna keep being Bulls fans next year and beyond, you better, and I repeat, you better have an active off season. You better have the busiest off season in franchise history. But no heart, no guts, no bark, no bite, and most of all, no balls tonight. MF, I just have one question for you. Have you ever in your life seen a more phoned-in performance than the Bulls had tonight?
Oh, boy, where do I begin? Yeah, it was horrible. It was bad. It was defeating. It was disgusting. I wish I could go on a bigger rant, but I won't, because quite frankly, Anthony, I just don't have the energy, and I just don't have it to do it. Worst performance of the season by a mile. I'm sorry. I'm going to go one further. Fred Hoiberg should be fired. John Paxson should be fired. Guard Foreman should be fired. They should clean house in Chicago. What I just saw was absolutely disgusting, atrocious. Not only phoned in, they gave up. And that's not the way Bulls fans have been remembered for a number of years. Remember, like you said about the glory days of Chicago, the 6 NBA championships. What we saw here was basically a team in disarray, and I hope this is the final death nail of what is, one of the most drama-filled seasons we've ever had in Chicago Bulls history. No doubt about it. Boston deserved it. They earned it. They fought for it. They wanted it more. I think a lot of people could question the first 2 games because, maybe it was after the fact that, maybe it was too soon. With Isaiah Thomas, his sister China passed away the day before the game, and Chicago kind of capitalized on a wounded animal. So they dominated. They won the first two. First game was a little hard. Second game, they won pretty handily. But everything changed because you had that extra time off. And then in game 3, Boston kicked the doors down, dominated. Game 4, same thing. Game 5 was really the controversial game because I felt like the referees kind of stole the game from us. This time around, the Boston wanted it. They wanted it. They dominated. They earned it. They fought for it. They won. Nothing more to say. Congratulations to the Boston Celtics for advancing to the next round of the playoffs. I'm done, Florio. Let's just move on.
Oh boy, is this going to be a fun night, huh?
Yeah, you could already tell.
Yeah, I mean, first we had to get into that. And unfortunately, we're going to have not one but two Noggin Diva stories to get into. Fun, big fun. Exactly how I wanted to spend my Friday night. Said no one. So, but it is what it is, and we have that responsibility, that journalistic responsibility that we take very seriously, and unfortunately, there are times where we're going to have to get into stories that we don't want to get into, and these first two stories tonight, we definitely don't want to get into, but we don't have a choice. So, with all that being said, let's get into it. It was Aaron Hernandez. Of course, about a week or so ago, Aaron Hernandez, of course, committed suicide. Let's give you the backstory for those of you who may not know it. Convicted murderer and former NFL star Aaron Hernandez was found hanged in his Massachusetts prison cell last Wednesday morning, just days after his acquittal in the double murder case. The 27-year-old former tight end for the New England Patriots hanged himself with a bed sheet attached to a window in his cell at the Souza Baranowski Correctional Center in Shirley. The Massachusetts Department of Corrections said his body was discovered at approximately 3:05 a.m. Life-saving techniques were attempted on Mr. Hernandez, and he was transported to UMass Leominster, where he was pronounced dead at 4:07 a.m., the Correction Department's statement read. And just give me a moment here while all right, just bear with me. All right, a little pop-up came up. Hernandez, who was serving a life sentence, was alone in his cell in a general population wing and had attempted to block his door from the inside by jamming the door with various items, the statement reads. Massachusetts State Police are investigating his death. The Office of the Chief Medical Examiner is conducting an autopsy to determine the cause and manner of death, the Worcester County District Attorney's Office said. Jose Baez, an attorney for Hernandez, has been retained by the athlete's family to investigate the circumstances surrounding his death and will act as the executor of his estate, according to a statement from Baez. The family and legal team is shocked and surprised at the news of Aaron's death, Baez said in the statement. There were no conversations or correspondence from Aaron to his family or legal team that would have indicated anything like this was possible. Aaron was looking forward to an opportunity for a second chance to prove his innocence. Those who love and care about him are heartbroken and determined to find the truth surrounding his untimely death. His death marks one of the most dramatic falls from grace by an athlete in recent memory and comes the same day that many of his former teammates visited the White House as Super Bowl 51 champions. So, we're not going to get into the whole Odin Lloyd situation or, everything else, but I'll say it like this. That's exactly what it is. It's the most dramatic fall, one of the most dramatic falls from grace ever. I mean, Derek Ferrera even called it a Shakespearean tragedy, for goodness sakes, and I don't blame him. I agree 100% with that statement. I mean, here's a guy who had a stellar career at the University of Florida, and then he takes that talent to the New England Patriots, and him along with Rob Gronkowski, you have perhaps the most lethal tight end combination in NFL history. it's like I've told people who've asked me about this. You know, I've had work colleagues and I've had other people ask me about this, and I said, well, it's very simple for Aaron Hernandez. What happened with him? It's very simply put. This is what happens when you hang around the wrong people. When you hang out around, you know, thugs and crackheads and alcoholics and so many other things. Your heart, I mean, your heart takes over your mind, and at times, it and my church brother Kyle, who happens to be my best buddy of the church that I go to, as you all know, one of the many reasons why I'm the holy roller that I am. He said it was simply the devil, and I agree. I agree 100%. It's clear that the enemy got into his head. The enemy messed with his head, and he goes from making millions and millions of dollars with a skill set so incredible to a man who becomes, in the immortal words of Paul Bearer and Derek Ferreira, a God bleeping murderer, and that's what happens. I mean, the career of a lifetime, right down the drain. And quite frankly, I hope he loved it. So that's all there is to say on that. So damn shame, and so much potential thrown away because you hung out with the wrong people. Thankfully, none of us have to worry about that because we've surrounded ourselves with much better people than Aaron Hernandez did. And let's just say none of the three of us are going to be doing what he ever did anytime soon. So, you know, most dramatic fall from grace I've ever seen in my life. So that's all I can say on that. So, MF, I'm going to bring you on in here, and then we'll get Bullet going. So, oh, what a shame, MF. I mean, I may be a Buffalo Bill fan, and you may be a Miami Dolphin fan. And, of course, I feel for Bullock and the rest of the Patriot fan base. I mean, here's a guy, like I said, who had so much talent, not just with the Patriots, but also in college with Florida, with Tim Tebow and those guys. And then all of a sudden, he starts hanging out with the wrong people, and then the rest, as they say, is history. And what a damn shame.
Yeah. You know, honestly, when I heard the news, I started thinking something different. I don't know why. Maybe that's just in my head because it's something just never seemed right about that whole situation. One thing that you egregiously left out was that he was being charged for a double murder, which he actually won. He was found not guilty of that murder. And one of my friends who was a member of the 2184 crew kind of really opened something that was a little more interesting, saying that, you know, if you really think about it, if you go back to the case of Aaron Hernandez, the Odin Lloyd case, that really it was really bad defense, and on top of that, the evidence was really circumstantial. Now, you got to be a real lawyer type guy to really get into the nuts and the bolts of that. And tonight, like I said, I'm just not in the mood to be a lawyer like I would be in the past. I just don't have it in me to do it. But he did try to get an appeal, get a retrial on that, which is possible. I mean, anything is possible nowadays. So maybe he gets a retry. I don't know. I don't think that, you know, they were going to try to do it with the whole 9 yards. But the circumstances, the way that he died and the whole 9 yards, I'm going to be very open about this. I didn't think it was a suicide at first. I thought he was murdered and that the state of Massachusetts covered it up. And not only did I feel that way, quite a few people felt that way. Now, no matter what I feel about Aaron Hernandez, the man, I feel bad for his family. I feel bad for his fiance. My heart breaks for his 4-year-old daughter. I think out of all the people in the world, that's the one that I feel the worst for. Now, I also feel bad for Odin Lloyd's family because even though this was another justice thing that they probably will never get justice now. Because maybe it does bring closure in one sense because he is gone, and that brings closure to the fact that this vile individual is no longer here, and I understand and I get that, no doubts about it. And I also feel bad for the families of the 2 slain men who Aaron Hernandez was actually found innocent of, that he actually did not commit the murder. And unfortunately, the real murderer got immunity by the state of Massachusetts. So they can't go after the guy now. The real killer was the lead investigator, or the guy who is testifying in that trial, and ended up not being they can't go after him because he asked for full immunity in return that he would testify against Aaron Hernandez. Well, during that case, Jose Baez tore this guy apart, basically almost to the point of admitting that he killed those 2 men. The star witness on the double murder case is the real murderer. But the state of Massachusetts couldn't do it because they were a bunch of dumb numbskulls and actually gave immunity to a murderer. Congratulations, Massachusetts. Well done. So, I wish I could go more detail or more into what I feel, but like I said, I got no energy. I'm done. Bullock, go ahead.
And before Bullock jumps in on the Aaron Hernandez situation, Bullock, we also did our season finale of the Bulls Corner. I'm sure you have to be extremely delighted about what your Celtics did tonight and putting away the Bulls in grand fashion.
I mean, yeah. And remember that that rant I went on? What was it about? Was it a week or two ago?
A week ago.
Yeah, when I called the team out after they fell down 2-0 to show up and basically play like the number 1 seed. And in the last 4 games, they certainly did come out and play like the number 1 seed. I mean, taking 3 of the 4 games in Chicago. A lot of guys really stepped up. Not just Isaiah Thomas, but Al Horford did, especially in that game 5. Avery Bradley stepped up, not just offensively, but defensively on Jimmy Butler. And a certain number of guys really stepped up. Jay Crowder did, and yeah, now it results in a Game 6 victory tonight, 105-83, and now it's on to the second round. And for the Celtics, it's a date with the Washington Wizards, and that'll actually start on Sunday. And I'm going to be quite honest with you guys. I think this is going to be more of a challenge for the Celtics in this one. I mean, you got Bradley Beal, you got John Wall, and yeah, I mean, do I think the Celtics could win the series? It's a possibility, but we'll just wait and see. But congratulations to the Celtics. It's their first playoff series win since the 2012 Eastern Conference semifinals against the Sixers. So, yeah, it should be a very interesting series against the Washington Wizards, and we'll see how it all starts on Sunday. And it'll be right back at the TD Garden. So, but all in all, I gotta say, congratulations to the Chicago Bulls on a good season to, basically make it to the playoffs, and what Fred Hoiberg did with this team. And what does the offseason hold for the Chicago Bulls? I don't know. Just have to wait and see. So, Florio, there's really nothing more to say. So, what do you think of the upcoming series?
Well, I think we're going to get into that next week, considering that we still have one first-round series left in the NBA playoffs. That's the Utah Jazz and the Los Angeles.
If you had to make an early projection.
That's a tough one, man. I want to go with Boston, especially after what we just saw.
I think Washington's is going to be a much tougher challenge for the Celtics.
Oh, of course. Of course.
Do I think they could win? They could win the series? Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely they can. No doubt about it.
Will they win the series? That remains to be seen.
It does remain to be seen. And Wizards look very impressive. They also put away the Atlanta Hawks in Grant style tonight as well. They put a whooping on them. They kicked the doors down and made themselves at home at the Phillips Arena. So,
but let's not forget the Celtics do have the home court advantage in the series.
Yes, they do, and they've always been historically a much better home team than road team in their.
So that could play a huge part in this series.
Oh, without question. So yeah, Boston against Washington. And then, I got to be honest with you. Before we get your thoughts on the Hernandez situation, Bullock, looking at the second-round matchups we got in the NBA already, I'm intrigued by all of them. Boston against Washington, that's got a great series written all over it. And then we have a rematch of last year's Eastern Conference Finals with Cleveland and Toronto. That's going to be hella fun, no doubt about it.
Oh, yeah.
And then look out west, you got Houston against San Antonio. A lot of history with those two. And then from there, you got the Golden State Warriors awaiting either our good friend Al Bredeson's Utah Jazz or the Los Angeles Clippers if they can wake up. But no matter who comes out of that Utah Clippers series against Golden State, that's going to be a good series as well. So you got 4 great second-round series in the NBA.
All of them are very intriguing.
Every single one of them. I agree. You can make an argument for any of them to be the star series, but to me, I think Houston-San Antonio is going to be the second-round series that we're going to keep an eye on the most. So, but anyways, I'm sure we're going to get into that next week, as it was not on the docket for this week. But we are going to get into the second round of the Stanley Cup in a little bit, as part of our double main event here tonight. So, all right, Bullock, we got to go from a high of high to a low of lows. Aaron Hernandez, you as a Patriot fan, I know this has got to be, and like MF and I said, what a shame. So much potential, great career with the Patriots and Florida, hangs out with the wrong people, and goes from making millions of dollars to, well, now about to be buried 6 feet under.
Yeah, it is a sad. It's a sad story that had to come to a tragic end. Like you said, Aaron Hernandez had a career ahead of him in football. Of course, starting off with Arizona and then gets drafted to the New England Patriots. And just think, you had probably the best tight end combo at the time in Gronk and Hernandez. And who knows how many Super Bowls the Patriots could have won with Aaron Hernandez. And, well, they went to one Super Bowl, and that was Super Bowl 46, and we all know how that one turned out. And Hernandez wasn't your normal tight end. He could do a lot of things. He could even play receiver. We even saw him play a little bit of running back. If you can remember that divisional series matchup against the Denver Broncos. So, And then he had to go hang out with the wrong people and basically threw away his career and decided to become a murderer, where he killed Odin Lloyd, where at the time was serving a life sentence, and was acquitted of another murder that he was charged with, and just when it looked like they were going to appeal that life sentence, he ends up taking his own life by hanging himself. So yeah, it's a tragedy. A great career, and now he's gone, and I feel sorry for his family, I mean his daughter, and you gotta believe probably for Odin Lloyd's family, they probably feel some kind of closure now, and to me, and I'll be quite honest with you guys, I don't know how you guys feel about it. I know there are gonna be people asking who wins in this whole thing. There are no winners, as far as I'm concerned, because I mean Odin Lloyd is not coming back, and now we know Aaron Hernandez is not coming back after taking his own life. So I really got nothing more to say. It's just sad. It's just sad. Let's just move on, Florio.
Unfortunately, we have to move on to another low life situation.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, where's that? I wish we could have had that picture with Michael Fletcher with that towel over the head, because that's the reaction I would have had right now.
And let's not also forget our good friend, the face palm bear.
Yeah, the face palm bear.
Yeah, it's one of those nights here on Strictly Sports. Starling Marte, Pittsburgh Pirates all-star outfielder, suspended 80 games by Major League Baseball for violating the league's policy on performance-enhancing drugs. John Heyman of FanRag Sports first reported Marte tested positive for PEDs. Big League Stu tweeted out the official press release from Major League Baseball announcing Marte's suspension. And then Marte issued a statement after his suspension was announced, per Fox Sports' Ken Rosenthal on Facebook. Statement reads as follows: I have been informed that I have tested positive in one of the tests that are regularly done in my job. In this very difficult moment, I apologize to my family, the Pittsburgh Pirates, my teammates, my fans, and baseball in general. Neglect and lack of knowledge have led me to this mistake, with the high price to pay of being away from the field that I enjoy and love so much. With much embarrassment and helplessness, I ask for forgiveness for unintentionally disrespecting so many people who have trusted in my work and have supported me so much. I promise to learn the lesson that this ordeal has left me. God bless you. Per MLB Network's John Morosi, Marte will begin serving his suspension immediately and will be ineligible for the postseason if the Pirates should make it that far. Marte has been one of the most valuable outfielders in MLB over the past 4 seasons. He has won 2 straight Gold Glove awards and set career highs in batting average, 311, on-base percentage with 362, and stolen bases, 47 in 2016. His 16.7 Fangraphs wins above replacement from 2013 through 2016 is tied for 4th among all MLB outfielders, behind Mike Trout, Andrew McCutchen, and Bryce Harper. With Marte suspended, the Pirates could shift McCutchen or Gregory Polanco into center field. Prospect Austin Meadows is in AAA, though he struggled through 10 games with a 162, 220, 270 line with 10 strikeouts and 37 at-bats. So there's all your schematics. MF, your thoughts on this latest victim of the steroid era? All right, Michael Bullock, let's get your thoughts on this.
Did we lose him?
I don't know. Your thoughts on the Marte suspension, Bullock?
Yeah. I'll just talk about it. I mean, yeah, you know how I feel about people taking steroids. I mean, I don't like it. It's pointless. It's unnecessary and totally stupid of him. I mean, I don't care if he meant to do it or not. But I mean, yeah, I mean, what a young talent this Starling Marte was, and he was one of the reasons why this team went to the postseason in 2013, and of course in 2014, and yeah, and then he had to go and take this performance-enhancing drug, and now he's out for 80 games, and should the Pirates make the postseason, he's not even going to be a part of it, and this is a bit of it's really going to hurt this team because he was a good hitter, and I mean, but of course the heart and soul of that team is of course Andrew McCutchen. So now will the Pirates make the postseason? That remains to be seen as well. So yeah, so you know what, Starling Marte, you made your bed. Now you have to lie in it with all those other freaking steroid users. So I'm done with this. Floria, what's yours?
Starling Marte, do you know what happens when you take performance-enhancing drugs? Do you know what happens?
No, Floria, what happens?
Starling Marte, you just made the list.
You just made the list.
Oh, yeah. And that's not a list you want to be on, brother. Simple as that. Like Bullock said, I mean, one of the many reasons why the Pirates had those good years a few years ago. Yeah, I mean, 80 games. I mean, oh, man. I mean, I don't really know what to say, honestly. I mean, yet another in the long line of users. And, I mean, what is there to say? I mean, I really don't know. I just don't know. I mean, he is so talented, and I mean, really, just you know what? I'm just gonna give you a quick thought before I give it to MF. It's a truly devastating blow to the Pittsburgh Pirates. I mean, it is rare for an all-star level player to get busted for performance-enhancing drug use in baseball, whether because they have more to lose or, as a cynic might say, because they have, by virtue of their higher salaries, access to better scientists. There are a few like Rafael Palmeiro or Alex Rodriguez among the steady stream of names nabbed by baseball's drug testing program. And then he's the biggest name nailed for PED use since D. Gordon of the Marlins a year ago. I mean, I already ran down his statement, and now the Pirates must make do for half a season without their regular center fielder and number 2 hitter, a devastating blow for a team that is only 2 years removed from a playoff appearance, that contended for a wild card deep into last September, and that fancied itself as a playoff contender again this year. The fact the NL Central appears wide open at the moment, with the World Series champion Cubs off to a slow start and the runner-up Cardinals off to a terrible start, only makes the loss of Marte more difficult to swallow. And even if the Pirates survive and somehow make the playoffs, they would not have Marte in October, thanks to a provision initiated in 2013 that bars players who have served suspensions during the season to play for their teams in that postseason. And I think that's a smart move right there. You want to cheat, you're going to pay for it. And that's how you pay for it. You lose money. I mean, God forbid, if he's a family man, that's much less. That's a lot less food on the table, if you know what I mean. So that's all there is to say on that. So a devastating blow to a contending team, and you know it is what it is. And I am so glad that they implemented that provision. in 2013 because that's something I would have done myself. I want my league to be a league full of honor and integrity, not full of cheaters, and stupid idiots and mutton heads. So like I said, Starling Marte, you just made the list of all of us. And that's the list of stupid idiots and mutton heads who have so much going for them and yet can't live up to that pressure. Let's face it, the pressures and stardom of being a Major League Baseball player are so high and so great, it makes people do stupid things. And that's exactly what happened with Mr. Marte. So congratulations, Marte. You're a stupid idiot and a mutton head. And all I can say is, shame on you. You deserve what you get. MF, a quick thought, if you would.
I just try to check to see if there's any. The only thing he is married, but no children. So that's all that I got on Starling Marte right now. Two-time Gold Glove winner, All-Star, and like you said, he got nabbed. He got nabbed for performance-enhancing drugs, and that is a crying shame. And to think about this, in 2014, he finalized the deal for a 6-year, $31 million contract. He had a multi home run game in a 7-3 loss against the Atlanta Braves, and then won his first Gold Glove in 2015. I mean, right now in his career, and this is just his career, he has a lifetime average of 288 with 60 home runs, with 242 RBIs, and has 162 stolen bases. So, I mean, unless and normally I would never defend anybody. I would never defend a person for performance enhancing drugs. I would never. But the thing that makes me wonder is why? Why would you do it? I think that's the biggest thing, or the thing that's really kind of got me all miffed about this is why. I mean, you got such a good career going. Why make such a screw up like this? And that's what it is. He like Anthony said, he just screwed up his career big time. Now you're going to be in a conversation with guys that maybe you don't want to be in a conversation with, but at the end of the day, like Anthony said, you made your bed, now you got to lie in it. Sorry. Nothing more to say. So, Anthony, let's move on to the next story.
And we're staying in Major League Baseball. This is not a noggin diva situation, but it's a serious situation if you're a San Francisco Giants fan. Madison Bumgarner, he was injured. He injured his throwing shoulder in a dirt bike accident. And when he did that, the team expected him to be out 6 to 8 weeks. However, they got worse news today. As MLB.com's Chris Haft writes, Bumgarner has been diagnosed with a grade 2 sprain of his throwing shoulder, and he is expected to miss at least 3 months. That would mean Bumgarner would not be in line to return to the rotation until late July, well into the second half of the season, which would mean the All-Star break. As well, that assumes no setbacks during the rehab process. At present, Bumgarner in his age 27 season has an ERA of 3 and a K/BB ratio 7-1 after 4 starts. He came into 2017 with a streak of 6 straight seasons of at least 200 innings. That's a remarkable run for a pitcher of Bumgarner's relative youth, but it will not be extended this year. As for the Giants, they're now thin in the rotation for the balance of the first half, barring any trades. For a team that opened play Friday in last place in the NL West and 6.5 games behind the first place Diamondbacks. Long term, the concern is getting Bumgarner back to full health and back on the Hall of Fame track he has been on. So Madison Bumgarner, as you all know, he was injured in a dirt bike accident, and that's the latest on that. So Michael Bullock, we started off here with you. Well, actually, no, I take this for a spin. Oh boy, San Francisco Giants. Here's a team that has won 3 World Series championships. Their most recent one in 2014. Let's not kid ourselves. Madison Bumgarner was the main reason why they won that 3rd World Series title of the decade in that unforgettable Game 7 against the Kansas City Royals. I mean, man, with the greatest relief performance I ever saw. And we hear cases like this a lot where certain athletes, non-baseball activities, and most of the time they end up paying for it, and that's exactly what happened in the case of Madison Bumgarner. I mean, man, and they had first said no surgery was going to be needed, and so I'm going to try to get some more information on this. Yeah, he's been ruled out through the All-Star break, grade 2 sprain. He suffered the injury along with bruised ribs in a dirt bike accident. Grade 2 sprain means Bumgarner partially tore ligaments and will require at least 3 months of rehab. That would put the best case scenario for his return around July 20. And this is from the, just bear with me for a minute. This is from the San Jose Mercury News. Giant orthopedist Dr. Ken Akazuki consulted with 49ers orthopedist Dr. Timothy McAdams, who sees this type of injury more often with quarterbacks after they sustain high-impact trauma when hit or slammed to the turf. The Giants and Bumgarner also sought opinions from Dr. Neil L. Atrach from the Curlin Joe Clinic in LA, and of course, Dr. James Andrews in Pensacola, Florida. Bumgarner began rehab on Friday, though he is unable to do much at this time. Once he regains more range of motion, he can begin strengthening exercises. Bumgarner will be evaluated again in 3 weeks to determine the progress of his shoulder. Giants head athletic trainer Dave Groschner expects Bumgarner to do everything that's necessary to get back on the field, but also notes how important it will be for Bumgarner to be honest about how he's feeling as to avoid any unnecessary setbacks. Groschner said in a statement, about 3 weeks out, we'll see how he's feeling. We'll see how much we can push or not push. Bum is a pretty conscientious person. We feel pretty good that when we ask him to do something, he'll do it the right way and give us honest feedback, and we'll adjust the program as needed. We all know how competitive Bumgarner is. Given the circumstances, though, we're sure he understands there would be no benefit to misleading his trainers or pushing too hard too soon. That's especially true with 2 $12 million team options on the table and a potentially massive contract looming beyond that. So there's a little more info for you. So, I feel for him. I mean, one of the best young pitchers in the game today. I mean, you can rank him up there with Clayton Kershaw and Arrieta and so many others, but, that's a major blow to the San Francisco Giants. And, they usually don't do good in odd years. The even years, they have these, these great runs. Of course, this past even year in 2016 did not go their way. They lost in the division series to the Cubs. And then, of course, we all know the Cubs went on to win the World Series. The most emotionally charged World Series victory of all time, coming off the greatest Game 7 in the history of that event. But, shame it happened. He is so fun to watch. He's one of the best pitchers out there. I mean, we had so much fun covering him in that unforgettable run in the 2014 playoffs when the Giants, of course, won that 3rd World Series in 6 years, or I should say in 5 years rather. But, these things happen. Things happen for a reason. And now he's out until after the All-Star break. That's a massive blow to the Giants. I mean, they're already in the basement in the NL West. And out of all teams, they're looking up to teams like the Colorado Rockies and the Arizona Diamondbacks. What? Whoa. My goodness. And let me tell you, those two teams are going to be in our power rankings later tonight. You better believe that. So, but in all seriousness, though, we wish Madison Bumgarner the absolute best. We pray in Jesus' name for a speedy recovery and that he can get back to being that fun pitcher that we all know he can be, that we all know he's been over the last few years. So here's to you, Mad Bum. Godspeed, my friend. I know when you come back, you're gonna be just as deadly as ever. So, MF, your thoughts on this latest bad news for Mad Bum and the Giants?
Yeah, terrible news to say the very least for Madison Bumgarner. Terrible news for the San Francisco Giants as well. The injury, and the thing is that Anthony, you said it best. These injuries have happened many times in weird cases. I mean, we've seen different players get injured after some things that have happened in the past. Too many to relate and too many to say, but this is part of the business, unfortunately. And this is why a lot of times you have these players that needs to sign these waivers, non-release forms, so that things like this would never happen, but it does. Like I said, like you said, as always, and well put, our thoughts and prayers are with Madison Bumgarner right now for a speedy recovery, and wish him nothing but the best. But man, what a horrible way to go down with an injury, even though that San Fran has been struggling. But I mean, at this point in the season, bad situation. So nothing more to say. Mike Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about a terrible situation for Mad Bum, and I mean, gets into this accident, and we were all thinking that he was only going to be out for a few weeks, but yeah, I got that same news that he's going to be out for 3 months, which basically won't be until sometime after the All-Star break. So yeah, I mean, he's been their ace, and it was one of the reasons why the Giants won the World Series in 2014 with of course, was named the MVP of the World Series in 2014. So so I wish nothing but the best for Mad Bum. Hopefully he recovers quickly and gets back on his feet soon. So so there's really nothing more to say. So Florio, I say we just move on.
And now, starting now, we're going to move on to some more positive stuff here. And I know this is something that's going to make Michael Fletcher very happy. So, MF, this one's for you, man. The biggest decision in college basketball's 2017 offseason came last Tuesday when Grayson Allen announced his return to Duke for his senior year. Unexpected? Not entirely. Consequential? Yes. Duke is a better team and has a better chance at making the Final Four in 2018 because of Allen's choice to come back. His recommitment to Mike Krzyzewski is too irresistible not to examine further. Far too many Allen critics went overboard last season. In fact, overboard is an understatement. The propulsion of pundit opinions on this kid flung like a free-for-all arrow attack that would make a Game of Thrones director blush. In wake of all that attention and scorn, Allen's choice can be deemed vexing because things outside Allen's control aren't going to change. All too predictable stories of his redemption won't stymie the throng of millions who will watch Duke, first and foremost, to see what he does next. He's opting to put himself through another season of microscopic media coverage and unrelenting vitriol from myriad angles, opposing fans, social media, traditional media, you name it. And then Allen had a statement. The last few weeks have provided the opportunity for a lot of reflection and prayer, which is what he said in last Tuesday's statement announcing he was returning to Duke. I'm a firm believer that when something feels right, you go with it. The chance to play with next year's team just felt right. I'm completely focused on helping Coach K and our staff lead this team to a special season. I love being a Duke student, and continuing to be part of the university culture is something I don't take for granted. There are tints of Allen's gratefulness in that statement, lingering sentiments from the fact he was suspended for tripping another player and was picked apart for his, at times, petulant on-court behavior. With Allen, the dichotomy is continually compelling. In interviews he's composed, he says the right things, he's smart. On the court, something elemental takes over at times. It's gripping viewing, you can't deny it. When he plays, your eyes remain fixed on him. Allen's senior season settlement is a fascinating one because of one aspect, his reality and his alone, that we haven't seen in the modern media age in this sport. He is by far the most famous college basketball player in more than a decade. The most talented and prominent players in college hoops don't normally make it to their sophomore season, let alone their senior one. Yet here's Allen clutched in limbo after coming up from a season that at times was hell. He's talented enough to be one of the best players in college basketball, yet not proven enough to make the early entry jump to the NBA. Now he's a contemporary villain with a spotlight life from another era. Entering every season, you can count on one hand the number of college basketball players who hold household name status. Allen transcends that. It might be 20 years before college basketball gets another player this well known who stays all 4 seasons. And if it happens, it will happen to that player the way it has happened to Allen. Not entirely by choice. He can claim that this move just felt right, but that feeling comes from the decisions of others. NBA general managers and scouts who have sent along a strong enough message to let Allen and his family know that his standing in this upcoming draft is not on the level it was a year ago, when Allen made the same choice under different circumstances. And I do have more thoughts on this, but I mean, I'm just going to leave it at that. So Grayson Allen, he's coming back for his senior year with Duke and MF. Michael Fletcher, as we start this off with you, I know you couldn't be any more excited about this because I know how high you are on this kid.
Look, I'm going to say it. What Grayson Allen brings to Duke is, he has an intensity, he has a fire, he has a passion. And yes, does he fly off the handle a few times? Oh, yeah, he has. And trust me, I've dealt with, guys who've been knuckleheads and that in our day and whatnot. I mean, for heaven's sakes, we talk about the Chicago Bulls. Remember the biggest headache we had with Dennis Rodman, for heaven's sake, and how much of a guy that a problem he was for us. But the thing is that as long as you handle your business and you play the right way, and Mike Krzyzewski is one of the greatest coaches in college basketball. He gets it. He understands it. And I know a lot of people are going to start flipping out and saying a whole bunch of junk about Duke. Fine, whatever. Duke is Duke. They're going to be the New York Yankees. They're the evil empire. I don't give a damn. I don't care what you think. I don't care what you feel about the Blue Devils. I don't. I seriously don't. So, yes, are they the villains? Because you know why people in college basketball hates Duke? Because you're not Duke. 5-time national champions. One of the greatest college basketball schools of all time. And on top of that, because they're part of the greatest college basketball conference right now, the reigning national champions of the ACC. That's North Carolina, that's Duke, that is, Wake Forest. You can go down the list. NC State, all them boys. The reason why you hate Duke is because for a number of times and a number of years, Duke was that school that was highlighted week in and week out in 1991 and 1992. What put them on the map was when they beat UNLV, when it was them. That was the team that beat UNLV and ended their undefeated season. That's when everybody started to say, whoa, Duke and this and that. But because of the love affair with Duke and then the way that they beat Kentucky in the regional final in Philadelphia at the Core State Spectrum in 1992, which many people still consider maybe the greatest basketball game in college basketball history, one of the greatest games of all time. That is why Duke has had that reputation. And you know what? You could talk about guys like Jason Williams. You could talk about guys like Christian Laettner, who's probably the biggest villain in Duke history, now Grayson Allen. Okay, does he do things that is a little shoddy, a little spotty? Absolutely. I'm not going to disagree with that. But, you know, he was suspended. He had to pay his penalty. He had to pay his penance. And he did. And a lot of people were like, oh, he should have gotten more than one game. Look, fine, whatever. But that's Duke's decision. It wasn't the ACC because the ACC had nothing to do with it. Duke decided you sit him out for one game, you let him think about what he's done, and then you let it go. I'm just sick and tired of all you college basketball fans dumping on Duke because of this. And this has been a rant that I could go on for years. For years, Duke has been one of the biggest pariahs in college basketball. Why? You know, you don't hear any negativity about, you know, when UCLA was winning their national championships. You don't hear no garbage about, you know, there was a lot of garbage about UNLV when they were making their big run. The Fab Five of Michigan, everybody was crapping all over them. Because when you are at the top, when you are one of the best, haters are going to hate. Plain and simple. Michael Bullock, you hear it all the time about your New England Patriots. Anthony, you probably heard it way back when the Buffalo Bills were winning year after year after year, making those 4 runs in the Super Bowl. People are going to hate you when you are good. And that's the moral fiber, because people don't appreciate greatness. They don't. And so Grayson Allen, a good kid, great player, decides to go back to Duke for one more year. Why? Because he wants to get another national championship. Remember, when he started his career, he won the national championship. They won the title, and it was awesome. Now, he wants to get back to that base, and he feels like there's so much more for him to provide. Even though he probably is a first-round talent and possibly a lottery pick in this upcoming NBA draft, he decides, no, I don't want to go there. I want to be where I'm at. For me, I'm happy with the pick because, like I said, if you bring all these younger guys are coming in, now you have a veteran voice, a veteran leader that can say, hey, this is what Mike Krzyzewski expects. This is what he wants. This is the standard we need to hold you. And at the end of the day, that's what it is. Now, I know a lot of people are not going to be too thrilled about it. Fine, whatever. But I'm happy with this, and I'm excited for what Grayson Allen is going to bring to the table. And I'm going to be very critical about him. I hope he doesn't bring that mentality. You don't have to go full on 90-something% all the time, because that's what got him in trouble, because he was too passionate. You got to reel that in. You got to try to bottle it inside. Do it the right way. And remember, and we're going to get into it next week about the NFL draft, and there was a player from Atlanta, and I loved his passion, I loved his fire, but I wanted him to harness it and then let it explode on the field. To me, that's how I feel. You got to harness it. Don't overexpose it, but harness it. Let all these Duke haters come at us fine, whatever, bring it on. All that matters is we harness it. And when September and October comes around, we unleash hell on the NCAA. And we take that all the way to cutting down the nets as national champions again. Michael Bullock, what says you?
Wow. Oh, I mean, I don't know how the heck I'm going to follow that. And I don't know if I can even follow that. I mean, this is what happens when Fletcher goes into that cerebral viper mode. And trust me, when you get him in that mode, you're not going to like the end result. I mean, trust me. I've done that. Florio has certainly done that, and we can both say we've been a part of that, and it's something you do not want to be a part of. So, but getting back to this, yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me that Grayson Allen's coming back. I mean, obviously he wants to win another national championship with Duke, and do I like some of the things he's done, some of the antics? No, but let's not forget. I mean, he's probably one of the best players in college basketball, and I mean, his attitude needs some work on, but that's why Mike Krzyzewski's there. He can do that. But as long as he continues to produce for them, I don't think there's going to be any problems for Duke. So, yeah, happy for Grayson Allen, and hopefully, and who knows, could he lead them to a national championship? We're going to have to wait and find out. So, that's pretty much all I can say. So, Florio, it is yours.
Well, like I said, with Grace, you got Grayson Allen coming back, and it also was announced that Joel Berry is going to be coming back to North Carolina. Oh boy, that's gonna be hella fun in the ACC for all you ACC guys out there, especially one like MF, who eats, sleeps, and breathes the ACC. I mean, what is there to say? I mean, Duke coach Mike Krzyzewski tells reporters he will always have Grayson Allen's back, as will the rest of his team. And the decisions this week, or last week rather, by Allen and Berry to return to school for their senior seasons dramatically changed both dynamics. And while both schools are still facing critical go or stay decisions by freshmen, the landscape will be similar to last season regardless of those decisions. Of course, Grayson Allen, Duke with one and dones, Wendell Carter and Gary Trent Jr. incoming will once again try to find the right mix between talent and experience after a season that saw 3 players turn pro and 2 more transfer in the wake of an ACC title and second-round tournament exit. That scenario worked in 2015 with a truly unique freshman class that came in as a group and minus Allen exited as a group, but has been less successful otherwise, with the Blue Devils failing to make it out of the opening weekend of the tournament in 2012, 14, and this year, after making it to the Sweet 16 last year. Still, while the return of 1 national title in 5 tries is certainly enviable, Mike Krzyzewski has yet to make that formula work on a regular basis, at least by the standard of making the Final Four, which is certainly historically applicable to a program like Duke. And getting Allen back should smooth the way. His presence will be a sideshow whether he crosses any behavioral lines or not. That's just the reality of the position in which he has put himself in. But he should also be healthy, something he never really was last season after battling ankle problems. Whether Jackson comes back or not, there will be fewer rivals for the ball this time around and more opportunities for a presumably healthy Allen to demonstrate the explosiveness that so defined his game in his freshman cameo, and as a sophomore was lacking from his game for almost all of this season. So, him and Joel Berry are going to vie for preseason ACC Player of the Year honors with another senior, Notre Dame's Bonzie Colson. While their draft prospects weren't great, it would have been easy to see one or both deciding it was time to turn pro and make some money. Instead, they'll come back to school and chase a national title once again. So I can't follow what MF said, so I tried my best. So I hope I did my best on that. So we wish Grayson Allen the best in his senior year at Duke. There'll be another interesting college basketball season next year, believe that. So now we're on to the double main event of the evening, and this is what I've been waiting for. We're going to preview the 4 second-round Stanley Cup playoff series, and we're going to go in the order of when the series started. And the first series that started was the Nashville Predators against the St. Louis Blues. That series is currently tied at a game apiece after the St. Louis Blues knocked off Nashville tonight 3-2. So that series is 1-up. I believe game 3 is on Sunday. So, Michael Bullock, we're going to start it off with you here. Nashville Predators, St. Louis Blues. Your thoughts on this series, and who do you like in this series?
All right. Yeah. Yeah, I think this should be a I think this should be a very good series here with St. Louis and Nashville, and boy, I mean, what a game we saw tonight in game 2. I mean, with the Blues basically taking that one 3-2 was the final in that one. So let me see. Vladimir Tarasenko had a power play goal in the first period. James Neal had another goal at a goal for Nashville. So, and it was Vladimir Tarasenko. He actually had 2 goals because he got one in the third period as well. So, yeah, certainly a great way for them to even up the series. So I think there's a possibility. I think the series maybe could go the distance, and so yeah. I mean, to me, I mean, I'm gonna go with the St. Louis Blues to win the series, and I think it's going to go the full 7 games, and I mean, I think Nashville will definitely give them some fits. I mean, James Neal, I mean, I think could help give St. Louis some fits, and Rene, I mean, I think he could play well for Nashville in the goaltending position, but to me, I'll be quite honest, St. Louis to me, I think is the better team. So I think St. Louis to me is going to win this series, no doubt in my mind. So, Florio, we got taking this series.
This is an agree to disagree situation, Bullock. I agree with you that the series is going to go the distance. I agree with you on that. However, I disagree with who you have winning. I have Nashville winning this series, and I'm going to tell you why. Well, first off, the Predators edged the Blues 3-2 during the season, but 4 of those games took place before the Blues coaching change, so those results are meaningless. What is more interesting is that the Predators, who have never faced the Blues in the postseason, have never advanced beyond the second round, while the Blues are looking to advance to the Western Conference Finals for the second straight year as they look for their first Stanley Cup in their 50-year history, if you can believe that. Why do you have to watch this series? I'll tell you why. 2 flawed teams that at various points during the season looked like they might miss the playoffs entirely rebounded to blow through higher seeds in the first round. The Nashville Predators were the darlings of training camp after acquiring former Norris Trophy winner PK Subban last offseason, but staggered through the first half before playing their best hockey down the stretch and then shocking the Central Division champion Chicago Blackhawks in 4 games, allowing the powerful Blackhawks just 3 goals in that series. Led by one of the most dynamic forward lines in the game, Philip Forsberg, Ryan Johansson, and Victor Arvidsson, the Predators outscored Chicago 13-3. The Blues continued their stingy ways under head coach Mike Yao, who took over for Ken Hitchcock on February 1 and compiled the best record in the league down the stretch at 22-8-2. The Blues scored first in 4 of the 5 games in their first-round series against the Minnesota Wild, winning all 4 of those games behind the stellar goaltending of Jake Allen and with an opportunistic offense. In terms of goalie advantage, this should be dynamite. Both Jake Allen and Pekka Rinne of the Predators entered the first round with much to prove given previous playoff inconsistencies, and both helped rewrite their own playoff narrative. Rinne, a 3-time Vezina Trophy nominee, allowed just 3 goals on 126 shots for a .976 save percentage against the dynamic Blackhawks, while Allen turned in a .956 save percentage in his play and staking the Blues to a 3-0 series lead, while allowing just 3 goals was critical. Ordinarily, this would be a big edge for Nashville, but I thought the same thing when Allen faced the Wild's Devin Dubnyk in the first round. And so with that being said, I'm not worried about the coaching advantage. My prediction, simply put, I like Nashville in 7. Johansson and Forsberg each had 11 points in the first round and each recorded at least a point in all 4 games, while 14 Predators recorded at least a point in the first round. This should be fun, and the Music City party is not stopping here. So I like the Nashville Predators in 7 to go to their first ever Western Conference Finals. So MF, you have the tiebreaker. Do you agree with me in Nashville, or do you agree with Bullock in St. Louis?
Well, I'll say this, Anthony. This is going to be a very interesting series, a very good matchup, to say the very least. St. Louis is one of the teams that I've had my eye on for a little while now. Nashville, flying under the radar. Nothing bad to say about them. They've been unbelievable. They really opened my eyes when they knocked out Chicago, and the way they did it. That was a remarkable job and everything else. But I'm sorry, I got to say it. I think St. Louis is just a special team this year. Now that they don't have to deal with their arch rival Chicago, and with the 2 teams that are remaining out west, maybe one team I'm a little worried about for St. Louis, but I think St. Louis has a great chance to make the Stanley Cup final. That's who I think is going to get there. I got St. Louis winning the series in 6. So there's really nothing more to say. So Michael Bullock, I'll give it to you.
Bullock already went.
Yeah, I already talked about it.
Yeah, so you 2 like St. Louis. I like Nashville. So agree to disagree. It happens. Now we move on to our second series, and it's the other Western Conference series. The Anaheim Ducks against the Edmonton Oilers. And, well, the Edmonton Oilers, they won game 1 5-3 on Wednesday night. And right now, 7:18 to go in the second period, they're up 2-0 in game 2, which is currently being seen on the NBC Sports Network. But I'm going to give you my my original. I actually did this. I actually came up with this little preview, before the series started. And I'm still going to go with my original gut. I'm still going to give you what I thought. I might have to change my pick, though. The Ducks were 2-1-2 against the Oilers in the regular season, with Edmonton winning the last game 3-2 in overtime, April 1 in Edmonton. Anaheim won 4-3 at home on March 22. Of note, however, is that Jonathan Bernier was in net when the Ducks won March 22. John Gibson's last win against the Oilers dates all the way back to November 15th. For a second series in a row, the Oilers are pitted against a deeply experienced team. The Ducks' 18 playoff wins over the past 3 years ranked second only to the Chicago Blackhawks in the Western Conference during that span. Why do you have to watch this series? Ryan Kesler versus Connor McDavid? Come on, you know that's worth the price of admission and then some. A Selke Trophy candidate trying to shut down and get under the skin of the Oilers' franchise superstar sophomore, who was the league's leading scorer. The Oilers in the postseason for the first time in 11 years got a crash course in playoff hockey and passed with flying colors in their first round matchup against the now former Western Conference champion San Jose Sharks in a series that pitted a veteran, playoff-savvy team versus a youthful team on the rise. The Oilers told you everything you needed to know about them after getting blown out 7-0 in Game 4 to the Sharks, and then winning the next 2 games to finish off the series. They're here now, and they're for real. But the Ducks, who edged the Oilers by a mere 2 points for the Pacific Division title, are the hottest team in hockey, unbeaten in regulation in their last 18 games, 15-0-3, which includes their 4-game sweep of the Calgary Flames in the opening round. This is a team that was one win away from the Cup Finals 2 years ago and has big plans for this spring after a first-round exit last year. The goalie advantage, Cam Talbot of the Oilers got hammered in that 7-0 Game 4 loss, but otherwise was outstanding against the Sharks, outplaying Martin Jones while posting 2 shutouts and was a major difference maker in Edmonton winning the series. Similarly, Gibson was pulled from Game 3 in Calgary, but otherwise was very solid in the series sweep. It's a really close matchup. Talbot posted a .927 save percentage in round 1 versus Gibson's .926. But overall, the slight nod here goes to Talbot. Originally, I had the Anaheim Ducks in 7, because McDavid was limited to 1 even strength point. His empty net goal capped the series, and yet the Oilers found a way to beat the Sharks, which tells you how far they have come as a team. And it's not just about what their Hart Trophy candidate does night in and night out. It's a team with depth and commitment. The Ducks have tremendous depth themselves, both on the blue line and up front, and they've been riding high for well over a month. This is a toss-up of a series. And I initially had the Ducks winning in 7. I thought it was going to go all the way. I said it was by the slimmest. I had it by the slimmest of margins. Experience and home ice were going to be the reasons why the Ducks were going to win this series. But I'm sorry, I cannot in good conscience go with that pick now after what I've been seeing over the last couple of games. Like I said, I originally had Anaheim winning in 7, but after what I've seen, I'm sorry, I got to change my pick. I'm going with the Edmonton Oilers to win this series. And if they keep playing like they are right now, this could be an open and shut series unless Anaheim wakes up come Game 3 Sunday night in Edmonton. So, or unless they wake up here and do something here in Game 2. But until I see it, I got to change my pick. Like I said, originally Ducks in 7, but nope, I'm changing that pick. Edmonton in 5, maybe 6. So give me the young upstart Edmonton Oilers in this series. So with that being said, MF, your thoughts on this very compelling Edmonton-Anaheim matchup?
Yeah, no doubt about it. Going in, I think we all agreed that we were all thinking that it was going to be Anaheim to go through. But now, with the way that Edmonton's been playing lately, especially the first game and now this one here, they're definitely in the driver's seat. This has the makings of a major upset. Did anybody think that the Edmonton Oilers could be in this position? And if they win this game, oh my goodness, up 2-0, heading home, that place is going to be absolutely redonkulous. And I'm. Yes, I did say redonkulous instead of ridiculous because I think that's what it's going to be like in Edmonton, man. They've been hungry for a Stanley Cup. They have not won a Stanley Cup since the days of Wayne Gretzky, Mark Messier, Yari Curry, and them boys way back when. It's been a long time coming for the Oilers, man. If you remember, the Oilers was like literally the team of the 80s in the NHL. They were just one of those teams year in and year out was so dangerous, and you just never knew what to expect from them. And yeah, at the end of the day, that's what we're gonna get. That's what we're gonna see. So no doubt about it. And excitement level is definitely high. It's just, can they do it? Can they bring it all together? We'll wait and see. But I know one thing for sure: they're looking good right now. So nothing more to say. So yeah. Right now, I'll give it to Edmonton. I'll say in 6 games. So, Mike Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I got Edmonton winning the series in 6 games, and yeah, I thought this would be a very good series. I mean, it still could be, but yeah, but Edmonton right now is looking like the much better team here. So yeah, I've really got nothing more to say. I mean, you guys pretty much touched on everything, so I say we just move on.
Now we move on to the series. Oh, the series. Well, it's the series for me and MF. this is the one that, piques our interest. After all, we do a little show following it. So it's our series, MF, and it's only fitting you started off. The New York Rangers, the Ottawa Senators. The Senators won game one on Thursday night by a score of 2-1 after a fluky bounce, as we all know if you didn't watch our Ranger Roundup last night. Game two will be later this afternoon at 3 o'clock on NBC before the series shifts to Madison Square Garden, I believe, on Monday night. So MF, even though we lost the first game, let's talk about the series now, as a whole now. Senators may have the 1-0 lead, but I still think we have a chance to win this series.
Not only do I think that we have a chance to win the series, I think New York will win the series. The reason why I think is, look, if you're the New York Rangers, you're really you're a little disgusted with the way that the first game went down, because you knew you had plenty of opportunities. Craig Anderson was just unbelievable. But the thing is that they also got some weapons there, and you can't hang Henrik Lundqvist out to dry like that either. Defensively, New York's got to get a lot better than they did. And the thing is that I see a lot of good things coming out of this. I love what Rick Nash has been doing lately. He's more aggressive. He's bringing a lot to the table this time around. Unlike in last years where he was like MIA, missing in the playoffs because there was, I think it was like a lack of passion or whatever, or just some things that just could not be ridded. But this time around, you could tell he is playing hard. He is playing like a man possessed this time around, and he is more into plays. Even though if he doesn't score, he is involved. I mean, a couple of goals that occurred was because Rick Nash was be a shield. He was using the body, being a human shield, blocking in the way of the goaltender, and blocking, impairing their vision so that they can't see the puck really good. And a lot of times you need players like that. So I love what I see, and so far so good. Nothing bad to say. It's been an amazing. The game one, yes, it was a fluky thing that happened. But if you really think about it, New York they were definitely the aggressors in game one. We just got to see if they can bring that again. I think they can get it, and honestly, I think they can bounce back. Just the mere fact that they won 2 road games and won 2 home games, that gives you that fertile ground of everything. So no, I think at the end of the day, New York will get it back. They should win this game. I just think it was just like you said, it was just a bad mistake, some bad things that happened. Let's just see what happens. So with that said, I got New York winning it in 7. Michael Bullock, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I got the Rangers winning that series in 7 as well. I mean, I think Ottawa will definitely give them some fits throughout the series, but to me, I just think New York is the better team, especially when you got Henrik Lundqvist at goal. And so yeah, there's really nothing more to say. Fletch pretty much touched on it. So I got the Rangers winning it in 7. So Florio, it is yours.
The Senators won the season series 2-1, outscoring the Rangers 8-5. The second Senators win came on the last weekend of the season, with the Rangers having already wrapped up their wild card spot. All 3 games were decided by 2 or fewer goals. The Rangers have won 10 of their last 15 regular season games in Ottawa. This is the second time the teams have played against each other in the playoffs. The Rangers won the series 4-3 over the Senators in the first round in 2012. Why do you have to watch this series? The entertainment value of this series is going to be off the charts. Not only is a trip to the Eastern Conference Finals on the line, but there's massive bragging rights at stake for defenseman Erik Karlsson of the Senators and goaltender Henrik Lundqvist of the Rangers. Both were members of Team Sweden at the World Cup and are playing outstanding hockey at the right time. Despite playing with 2 hairline fractures in his left heel, Karlsson averaged 30 minutes of ice time in the first round against the Boston Bruins. Lundqvist proved in the first round against the Montreal Canadiens that he's still a world-class goaltender, posting a 1.70 goals against average and a .947 save percentage. This is the second time Carlson and Lundqvist have faced each other in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And let me see, what else do I have here? The Senators, Derek Brassard, and Rangers, Mika Zibanejad, were traded for each other last summer. Brassard recorded 8 points in the first round against the Bruins. Zibanejad scored in overtime in Game 5 against the Canadiens. This is going to be a physical series. In the goaltender advantage, it was evident during the first round against the Canadiens that Lundqvist's confidence is at a season high. In 5 of his last 6 games against the Senators, he has allowed 2 goals or fewer, with a 1.80 goals against average and a .936 save percentage. Craig Anderson wasn't outstanding in the first round, but he was solid and made timely saves when needed. His teammates feed off his energy, and he's a solid number 1. He has the ability to frustrate an opponent because of his old-school stand-up style. Anderson's ability to play the puck is an advantage because the defensemen don't need to come back as deep into the zone to retrieve the puck, and it helps the transition game. When it comes to my prediction, when the Senators don't have the puck, the defensive play will be key, just like it was in the first round against Boston. Anderson will see plenty of traffic in front, and he will be up against the goaltending prowess of Lundqvist. Plus, the Rangers are a fast and physical team. It'll be difficult for the Senators to match that intensity. So I'll make it unanimous. I got the New York Rangers winning the series as well. Only difference is I have it a game less. I have the Rangers winning in 6. So we all agree the New York Rangers will win this series. One series left, and oh boy, it's the granddaddy of them all. It's the A series right here. The Washington Capitals and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Penguins won Game 1 3-2 in Washington on Thursday night. Game 2 will be primetime Saturday night on NBC in Washington before the series shifts to Pittsburgh on Monday. So I believe Michael Bullock starts it off. So Michael Bullock, this is the big series right here. The most compelling of the 4 second-round series. Penguins, Capitals, Crosby, Ovechkin, Bullock. Come on, who do you like in this be a man series, as I call it?
Oh, this is going to be an awesome be a man series. I mean, you got Alexander the Great going up against Sidney Crosby, but this is basically all about the Penguins and the Capitals and who's better, of course. Pittsburgh, obviously, they took Game 1, and yeah, I mean now this is a chance for the Washington Capitals to basically try to bounce back, and I mean the rich could be getting rich. Yeah, I mean but the thing is, of course, here's the thing. I mean, of course, Pittsburgh could be getting even a bigger boost. I mean, Carl Hagelin, who missed the last 16 games of the regular season and all 6 playoff contests due to a lower body injury. He was a full contact participant in Friday's practice, and he could return for the Pittsburgh Penguins, and it could add more speed to a Pittsburgh offense that was basically outshot 35-21 in that win. And the Penguins have won 11 of their last 14 playoff games going back to last season. So because of the injury, Carl Hagelin had only 6 goals and 16 assists in 61 games during the regular season. But let's not forget a role he played in last season's playoff series win over the Capitals. He had 3 goals and 4 assists, so that could be huge for them. And of course, Braden Holtby, he's going to have a much better game, and Alexander Ovechkin had a goal in the game, and he's going to have to play a huge role in the series if the Capitals are going to win it. But to me, I'm going to go with, I'll tell you what, This is going to go 7 games. Man, it's. I am going to. I mean, if I am going to go with the Pittsburgh Penguins to win this in 7 games. I mean, it's just tough to go against the kids, Sidney Crosby. I mean, would I be surprised if the Washington Capitals end up winning the series? No, I wouldn't be. But man, I mean, this either way. I'll tell you what. Either way, whoever wins the series, this is in the end. I think this is going to be a series we'll all be talking about at the end of this series. So, Florio, it's yours.
Well said, Bullock. Both teams can claim 2 wins in their 4-game regular season series, but both Capitals' losses to the Penguins came in overtime. The Capitals enjoyed a healthy 21-14 scoring advantage over the Penguins, inflated by a 7-1 win over the Penguins in November. These teams played in one of the most entertaining games of the regular season, a Penguins 8-7 overtime win in January that snapped the Capitals' 9-game winning streak. During the second period of that game, the Penguins scored 6 goals in 11 minutes. Why do you have to watch? Where to start? First of all, it's the 2 best teams in the NHL from the regular season. In a parallel universe where the NHL isn't using a broken playoff system, this is the conference finals. Yes, it's Sidney Crosby versus Alexander Ovechkin. That's always compelling, but the matchup to watch will be Crosby against Nicholas Backstrom. Backstrom has historically played Crosby tough. Each Penguin Stanley Cup run has gone through the Capitals. So if the Penguins are going to repeat, this series is a prerequisite. As for the Capitals, what better way to prove this year is different than by beating the Penguins in round 2? The winner of this series is very likely going to be the Eastern Conference team in the Stanley Cup Finals. And it also adds a chapter in the legacy of 2 of the greatest players of their generation, regardless of what you have to say about either one of them. The decision not to trade Marc-Andre Fleury paid off during the first round, with Fleury seamlessly filling in for the injured Matt Murray. Fleury stopped 70 of the first 72 shots he faced against the Columbus Blue Jackets before allowing 9 goals in the next 2 games. Overall, he played well while helping the Penguins advance, finishing the first round with a .933 save percentage. Even with Fleury's success, the Capitals have an advantage because of their goaltender, Braden Holtby, who was an outstanding playoff goalie. He faced more shots, 213, and played more minutes, 406, in the first round than any goalie. He finished with a .925 save percentage and has a career playoff save percentage of .936. The Penguins' speed is going to give the Capitals trouble, just as it did last spring. But Pittsburgh's injuries, especially Chris Letang's, might be too much to overcome. Washington, I still feel, is the deeper team, and in a 7-game series, that will be the difference. So, Penguins may have won the first game, and I know they are the favorites to win the series, not just because of last year, but especially after what they did against Columbus. But I still have this feeling about the Washington Capitals. So I like the Washington Capitals in 7 games. And a quick update before we go to MF. The Anaheim Ducks have gotten on the board. So after 2 periods of play, it's now 2-1 Edmonton in game 2 of that series. So just wanted to give you a quick note on that. So I got the Washington Capitals in 7 games. So MF, even though we're more focused on the Rangers, this is our series when it comes to the commentary. Washington and Pittsburgh, and what a great first act we had last night, especially that final 3:15. You know what I mean.
I mean, that was probably the wildest game I've ever seen in my life, and there's really nothing more to say. How are they going to come back for an encore? Who knows? But one thing's for sure. This is going to be an epic series. Obviously, Anthony, I'm going to have to disagree with you. I am going with Pittsburgh to win the series in 7 games. I just feel like they're just the better team. I know the Letang injury does kill them, but I don't know. I'm not sold on Washington. I don't know. I just don't feel I don't really feel high about them, and especially after the series that they had against Toronto, where I really thought that Washington should have dominated that. They won the series, but it wasn't really as amazing or thrilling as I thought it was going to be, and Pittsburgh just completely just destroyed Columbus. I thought Columbus was going to put up more of a fight than they did. So, no, I'm sorry, I disagree. I got the Pittsburgh Penguins winning the series in 7 games. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Bullock already went, so and he agreed with UMF. He has Pittsburgh winning the series as well. So, all right, now it's time. It's time for the main event of the evening. Well, the second half of our double main event, but the overall main event of the evening. Our first Major League Baseball power rankings of this 2017 season. And, well, I mean, I don't know what else there is to say except we are definitely going to have quite a bit of some fun with this. I mean, oof. Just give me 1 second here while I get everything set up here. I know who my number one is. I'll tell you that right now. I already know who my number one is. And it's not who people think. I mean, it's based on a hot hand right now. So, with that being said, we're going to start it off at number 10. But before I do, I do have an honorable mention. Well, I have a few honorable mentions. My first honorable mention is the Seattle Mariners. They've won 3 in a row. They're 5-5 in their last 10 games. 11-13. They need to work on that. Let me see. Who else do I have? Boston Red Sox. They're I need to see a little more from them. They're only 12-10. They're 5-5 in their last 10, but they picked up a big win against the World Series champion Chicago Cubs tonight in that epic series. That should be a lot of fun. And if that first game's any indication, oh boy, we're in for a fun 3-game set. And my last honorable mention is the Tampa Bay Rays. 10, they're 12-12. So that's basically all I can say on that. So I think I have everything else ready to go. So okay. Started off with my number 10. And my number 10, despite the fact that this team has lost 3 in a row, they're 6-4 in their last 10 games, and I just like their body of work way too much for them to be left out. For me, my number 10 is the Colorado Rockies, one of the 2 teams that the San Francisco Giants are looking up at. Well, they're looking up at everybody in the West, but it's just unbelievable how this team was doing. I mean, earlier in the week, I had this team as high as number 1, but they've really gone down. They've gone downhill, and that's not a good thing. I mean, they were playing so well. I mean, going into Monday, I had this team as my number 1 team, but after what happened against the Washington Nationals, I mean, yeah, they won the first game, but then it all went downhill. Oh, it went downhill quick. Whoa. They got outscored 42-21 in those 3 games where Washington absolutely kicked the door down and made themselves at home at Coors Field. But they rebounded with a 3-1 win against Arizona tonight. So here's their upcoming schedule. Of course, 2 more games against the Diamondbacks in Arizona this weekend. And then they go to San Diego for 3 starting on Monday. Tuesday, rather. And then next weekend, they got the Diamondbacks coming in for another 3-game set. This time it will be in Colorado. So they are 7th in runs scored. They're 8th in batting average. They're 12th in home runs allowed, but their pitching needs work, big time work. They're 28th in team ERA. It's 4.85. And at the start of the week, I had them as high as number 1 because of the numbers. But after what Washington did to them, they went down fast. So, but I still think they deserve to be in the rankings before what happened against Washington. So my number 10 is the Colorado Rockies. So MF, do you agree or disagree with that?
I agree. I'm gonna give Colorado their due here. Um, like Anthony said, I think they were one of the hottest teams out there, but yeah, they've cooled off lately and cooled off in a bad way. There was a stretch there where they were red hot. I think they were like 8-2 or 9-1 winners, or like 5 or 6 in a row, and everybody's like, "Whoa, this is from Colorado." But all of a sudden, like you said, now they literally, I don't want to say it, but I'll say it anyway. They literally spun the tires on themselves, and now they're in a deep hole here. So yeah, my number 10, like you said, Anthony, I agree with you. I'm gonna give it to the Colorado Rockies. So Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I'm gonna make it unanimous. Who we have at number 10?
Colorado.
Oh yeah, the Colorado Rockies. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure of that. So yeah,
Yep.
the Colorado Rockies are my number 10. So onward to number 9.
I'm gonna take number 9, and okay, I, at first I wasn't going to do it, but after what happened tonight, I'm gonna pull the trigger. Forgive me for what I'm about to do. My number 9 is the reigning World Series champions, Chicago Cubs. 6-4 in the last 10 games, losers of 2 in a row, including the loss to the Red Sox tonight. And Anthony, you said it best. This is the epic series. Um, but no harm, no foul, because they are still the division leaders, only by half game though. And we'll have to wait and see. I think Chicago's they're still in that quote unquote honeymoon phase. They're still kind of basking in the glow of the World Series win. So I think right now we can't say nothing bad about it, because it hasn't hit the fan yet. I do know that if this continues, though, it's gonna get bad or worse. But for me, Chicago's just in a position right now where they're kind of better on the road than at home. Right now, they're 8-5 on the road and 4-5 at Wrigley Field. So I mean, just give it some time, and and it's still a young season. I mean, they're only 22 games into the season, and there's what, 162 in an entire Major League Baseball year. So yeah, we haven't even hit a 30 yet, or not even a quarter of the season yet. So give it some time. Let's see what happens. Um, but right now, my number 9 is reigning and defending World Series champion Chicago Cubs. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Bullock, are you with us? I guess we lost him.
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I agree with that, MF. Chicago Cubs are my number 9 as well. Um, they started off pretty strongly. Earlier in the season, they had a winning streak as long as 4 in a row. But then, last week they had a 4-game winning streak that was snapped on Sunday when they lost at Cincinnati. And then they won the first 2 games of the series against the Pittsburgh Pirates, but then they lost the third game of that series on Wednesday, and then they lost to the Sox tonight. So they have 2 more games against the Red Sox in Fenway this weekend. And then they have a white-hot Philadelphia Philly team coming in for 4 starting on Monday. And then, MF, if you thought this Red Sox-Cubs series was epic, how about a Cubs-Yankees series? Next weekend, the New York Yankees are coming to Wrigley for a 3. Afternoon game on Friday, Saturday night game on Fox, and then Sunday night baseball on ESPN May 7th. Whoa, Lordy. That's going to be hella fun. MF, you think Cubs Red Sox is fun? Wait till we get Cubs and Yankees. that's going to be even more fun. Cubs are 4th in runs scored, 6th in batting average. They're 7th in team ERA at 3.65, which is good. But they're 22nd in home runs allowed. They've already allowed 26 home runs this season. That's not going to get it done. So because of the champs and because, they're a first place team, we have to, show them the love. So with that being said, my number 9, it is your reigning and defending undisputed World Series champion, Chicago Cubs. And I agree with you, MF. They're in World Series hangover mode. It's as simple as that. So I agree 100% with that statement. So, okay, now on to number 8. Now, this is where it's going to get dicey here. I think I might have to put in a tie here at number 8 because I have a couple of more 6-4 teams that I think deserve to be recognized. Yeah, I have a tie at number 8. Arizona Diamondbacks and the Baltimore Orioles are my number 8s. Arizona, first place team, 15-9. They're half a game ahead of Colorado in the NL West. 6-4 in their last 10 games. They won their last game. They're second in team batting average. They're hitting 276 as a team. They're second in runs scored at 132. 12th in home runs allowed at 24. And they're 15th in team ERA. They need to work on that. 3.99 team ERA. And let's look at their body of work. When the season started, they were gangbusters. They started the season with a 6-1 record. They started with a 6-1 stretch, including 5 in a row from April 5th to the 9th. But then they started to taper off. They put together a couple of 2-game winning streaks here and there. They did lose to the Rockies tonight. One thing of note, they swept the American League champion Cleveland Indians, if you can believe that. Outscoring them 21-7 in those 3 games. That's the big one of note right there. They have 2 more games against the Rockies at home this weekend. And then they go to Washington for a 3-game series with the Nationals. That's going to be starting on Tuesday. And then next weekend, they go to Colorado. They go to Coors Field to take on the Rockies for 3. So I'm really loving their body of work right now. One player in particular, and that's Paul Goldschmidt. Coming off of his great performance in the World Baseball Classic, leading Team USA. My God, I still can't get over that. We actually won that thing. That's awesome. So, and he was one of the main reasons why. So, first number 8 is Arizona. My other number 8 is the Baltimore Orioles. 6-4 in their last 10 games. They lost tonight, but what a game. Did you see that game against the Yankees tonight? Can you say 5-star classic? Can you say Shakespearean drama at its finest? I can. They're tied with the Yankees for first in the American League East. Wow, can't believe I'm saying that. At 14-7. They're second in home runs allowed. They've only allowed 17. They're third in ERA, 3.41. The pitching is good. The offense needs work, though, even though they had a great outing tonight. They're 21st in runs scored, and they're also 21st in team batting average. So, they started off really good. They started the season 4-0 before losing to the Yankees on the 9th. They put together a 3-game winning streak. They've had 2 4-game winning streaks during the season. They started the year 4-0. And then they had a 4-game winning streak recently with wins against Cincinnati and Boston before losing to the Sox on Sunday. They went 2 out of 3 with Tampa, and then they lost to the Yankees tonight, 14-11 in 10 innings. Wow, unbelievable. They have 2 more games against the Yankees in New York this weekend, and then on Monday, they start a 4-game series with the Boston Red Sox in Fenway Park, and then next weekend, they got the Chicago White Sox coming in, another hot team right now. So that's all I can say there. So I love the Orioles pitching. It's just the offense needs work. Like I said, you heard the numbers. So with that being said, my number 8s are the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Baltimore Orioles. So MF, Who do you have? What do you say about number 8? Do you agree with that or what?
Well, okay. I could probably concede and give you the well, should I concede here? Actually, no. I'm actually gonna meet you on that one. All right, yeah, you got it. Baltimore Orioles and Arizona Diamondbacks. I'll agree with that. I agree with that. I'll give you that for the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, I'll give you that call. So yeah, you got it. Number 8 is them. No arguments here. So we go onward to number 7, and let's see, who do I have at 7? Actually, is this where I have? All right. Actually, yeah. Okay. My number 7 is. Should I do Houston here, or do I want, or are they not in it? No, because this team's here, and they deserve better rankings. So I could even see them flirting with top 5. No, okay. Number 6, I'm going to give it to the Houston Astros. 15-8 division leaders, 6-4 in the last 10 games. The reason why I'm kind of on the fence here is because there were a couple of teams that I had my eyes on, but I'm not going to pull the trigger because I think they deserve to be higher. So they're 2 teams that are right on the cusp of really playing really good. They're really playing good baseball lately. So I'm not going to punish these other teams. My number 6 is the Houston Astros. So Anthony, it's yours.
I think you meant number 7, and yes, I do agree. It is the Houston Astros. 15-8. They lead the AL West by 3 games over the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. What did I tell you about this team? Do you remember when we did our preview about a month ago? Who did I have winning this division? Who did I have winning the AL West? I believe I said I had the Houston Astros winning it, and so far, they're making me look like a genius here. And that's why I am the Mr. Baseball of this group. Let's not kid ourselves. Why I'm the Tim McCarver, John Smoltz, whatever you want to call it. Look at these numbers. They're 3rd in team batting average, hitting .268 as a team. They're 5th in ERA, .348. They're 12th in runs scored. That's okay. But the home runs allowed, though, that's a problem. They're 24th in that department with 27. That's their only Achilles heel. But other than that, I'm really loving their body of work right now, especially Jose Altuve, who continues to just, impress. And he is going to be a star for years to come. I mean, he is that big star that team has been longing for since the days of Craig Biggio and Jeff Bagwell and all those studs from back in the day. So, okay, let's look at the Astros. I mean, I'm like I said, they started the year 3-0, and then they tapered off, losing 3 in a row after that. They opened the season with a 3-game sweep of the Seattle Mariners at home. That's of major notice. Recently, they took 3 out of 4 from the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. And those are the only things of note. They snapped a 2-game losing streak with a 9-4 win over the Oakland A's tonight. They have 2 more against Oakland this weekend. And then on Monday, they start a 4-game series with their crosstown rivals, the Texas Rangers. And then next weekend, they go up to Anaheim for a 3-game series with the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. So yeah. Number 7, without question, it is the Houston Astros. I agree with that 100%. All right. 6 now. And this is definitely where it's going to start to get dicey a little bit. It might get a little easier going forward. I can tell you right now, my top three are no-brainers. That's all I can say on that based on, actually my top 4 are no-brainers based on the body of work, mainly because of their last 10 games. Number 1, no-brainer, 2, no-brainer, 3, no-brainer, For a no-brainer. I think I might need to split it up. It's between two teams. Both teams that have won, and these two teams have won 5 in a row each, and they're also 6-4 in their last 10 games. But because of the fact that one is a first place team and the other is a second place team, I have to go at number 6. I got to go with the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. They've won 5 in a row, 6-4 in their last 10, even though the record is only 13-12 and they're 3 games behind Houston in the West. And I know their numbers need work. 14th in team ERA, 3.97, 20th in batting average and runs scored, and 29th, nearly dead last in home runs allowed. They've allowed 35 home runs as a team. But somehow they've won 5 in a row and they're 6-4 in their last 10 games. And of note, they most recently they split a 4-game series with Toronto. They swept Oakland 3 in a row. They won in Texas tonight against the Rangers, 6-3. 2 more games against the Rangers this weekend in Texas. They're off on Monday, and then they go to Safeco Field in Seattle against the Mariners for 3 starting on Tuesday. And then next weekend, they have the first place Houston Astros coming in. So major AL West and power ranking implications going into that series. So, Mike Trout's still doing his thing. And what else is there for me to say except they need to work on the offense a little bit. The pitching is so. But they've won 5 in a row. They're 6-4 in the last 10. But because they're a second place team and the other team is a first place team, I have to go with that. So my number 6, Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. MF, agree or disagree with that?
So you put the Angels and Chicago at number 6?
No, I have the Angels strictly number 6. I got the White Sox just ahead, only because they're a first place team.
I agree. No arguments here. No. Yes, cool, fine. Number 6 is the LA Angels of Anaheim. I got no arguments with that. And I guess we both tipped our hand at number 5 that it was going to be the Chicago White Sox. So I'm not going to argue with that either. So no. Good choices. No arguments. Let's move on.
Chicago White Sox number 5. They've all, just like the Angels, they've won 5 in a row. They're 6-4 in their last 10. But the reason why I put the White Sox ahead is because they're a first place team and the Angels are a second place team. Even though the White Sox are only a half a game ahead of your reigning and defending American League champion Cleveland Indians. They're 12-9. They're second in team ERA. Go figure. They trade away Chris Sale to Boston, and they're second in team ERA. Can you believe that? 2.92. 12th in home runs allowed at 24. They're 22nd in batting average, and they're 23rd in runs scored. So the offense, a little shaky, but the pitching is solid. I still can't believe second in team ERA, even after they gave away Chris Sale to Boston. And they've won 5 in a row. They've won 5 in a row after they had lost 3 in a row. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Yankees in New York. And then they lost 2 out of 3 to Cleveland. But here's the big thing of note. They just swept the Kansas City Royals this week, outscoring them 27-8 in those 3 games. And then they follow that up with a 7-3 win in Detroit against the Tigers. And boy, have they've fallen from grace. They started out really good. 2 more games against the Tigers this weekend. And then on Monday, they start a 4-game series with the Kansas City Royals. And then next weekend, they go up to Camden Yards to take on the Baltimore Orioles in a 3-game series with power ranking implications aplenty in that one. So that's basically all I can say on that. So this is number 5 and that is the Chicago White Sox. So we move on now to number 4, I do believe. And okay, this is where it definitely will start to get dicey here, because we got 3 teams playing with 8-2 records in their last 10 games, and then we have 2 at 7-3, and I think we're going to have to play the devil's advocate here, and we're going to have to do another tie at number 4 because of this. So my number 4s, can't believe I'm saying this first one, because I'm as surprised as anybody with how well this team is doing. And it happens to be my own team, if you can believe it, the New York Yankees. And the other is your reigning and defending American League champion, Cleveland Indians. They're both 7-3 in the last 10 games. The Indians lost their last game, but the Yankees have won 3 in a row. And the Yankees are now tied for first in the AL East with the Baltimore Orioles. Guess who has the best team ERA in baseball right now? It's the Yankees. 2.90 ERA. They're 4th in home runs allowed. They've only allowed 19 home runs. They're 5th in runs scored at 112 and 6th in team batting average at 257. I'll admit it, I did not have high hopes for the Yanks this year. I thought this was going to be another meh season like it has been the last few years. But boy, howdy, they're making a believer out of it. I'm believing in them again. Yeah, they started off 1-4, but since that 1-4 start, they've gone 13-3, including starting the season 7-0 in the stadium. And they've only lost 1 game in the stadium so far. They're 9-1 at Yankee Stadium this year. You believe that? Unbelievable. And that's why they were recently they had an 8-game winning streak from April 9th through the 17th, salvaging the final game of a 3-game series in Baltimore against the Orioles in Camden Yards, swept Tampa Bay, and then they swept St. Louis. And I cannot believe how bad St. Louis is this year. Boy, have they fallen from grace. They then take 2 out of 3 from the White Sox. But then they did lose 2 out of 3 to the Pittsburgh Pirates in Pittsburgh. They had a game against the Red Sox rained out on Tuesday. They only played 2 games, and they won both of those games, outscoring the Sox 6-1. That, by the way, that rained out game is going to be made up as part of a day-night doubleheader on Sunday, July the 16th. So mark that on your calendar. And then tonight. Tonight. Did you see what they did against the Baltimore Orioles tonight? 5-star classic, Shakespearean drama. Went from an absolute dud to a 5-star classic. They beat the Orioles 14-11 in 10 innings. And they came back from a 9-1 deficit. They trailed 9-1. And after 7, they were down 11-4. But then they got it to 11-8 after a grand slam by Jacoby Ellsbury. And then Ellsbury had a fielder's choice. And then Starlin Castro tied it up in the 9th. And then in the 10th, Matt Holliday. Yeah. The veteran, formerly of Colorado and St. Louis. He hits the home run, 3-run home run to win the game in the 10th off of Aquino for Baltimore. Jason Aquino making a winner out of Aroldis Chapman. CeCe got roughed up, but boy, howdy. I mean, what a game for the Yanks. And I love this young team. I mean, we got a great young team. I mean, yeah, you've got some veterans, getting Matt Holliday, that was a steal, if I'm going to be real honest with you. I could not believe we got Matt Holliday. I know he's not the same as he was 10 years ago when he was leading Colorado to the World Series, but if we can get that Holliday, oh boy, this team could actually be fun to watch again. And then look at the young talent. I know Gary Sanchez is injured, but we got Castro, we got Gregorius, Chase Headley. But the one player that we need to be talking about for the New York Yankees nowadays, Aaron Judge. I talk about Jose Altuve being a big star for Houston. Aaron Judge is the next big star for the New York Yankees. You think about all the legends that have played with the Yankees. Your Derek Jeters, your Paul O'Neills, your Tino Martinez's, your Don Mattingly's. I could go on and on and on about the lineage of the Yanks. Aaron Judge is that next big star for the New York Yankees. And I, for one, cannot be grateful for what that young man is doing. And, well, I mean, let's review their upcoming schedule here. They have 2 more against the Orioles this weekend, and then the Toronto Blue Jays come in for a 3-game series starting Monday, and then next weekend, a 3-game series in Chicago at Wrigley Field against the Cubs. Whoa, Nelly. That's all I'm going to say on that. So I know it's early, but if they keep playing like this, I've got high hope for this team for the first time in a long time. So the Yankees are my first number 4, and my other number 4, your American League champion Cleveland Indians. They're also 7-3 in their last 10. They're 4th in home runs allowed, 19, 9th in batting average, 254, 13th in runs scored, but their pitching needs work. It's 19th. They're 406. Just like the Cubs, they're off to a slow start, but I still think they're going to get better as the season progresses. And they started the year 3-0 with a 3-game sweep of the Texas Rangers, but then they went downhill after getting beat down by Arizona. And yeah, they did have a 5-game winning streak from the 17th to the 22nd after 2 wins against Minnesota. After winning 3 in a row against Minnesota, and then the first 2 games of a series against the White Sox when they outscored them 10-0. But 2-game winning streak. They lost at home tonight to Seattle 3-1 after winning 2 out of 3 against Houston. Let's see. 2 more games against the Mariners this weekend at home, and then they go to Detroit for a 4-game series with the Tigers starting on Monday. And then next weekend they go to Kansas City for a 3-game series against the Royals, who have not been the same since they won their World Series in 2015, mind you. So that's it. Go number 4s. My New York Yankees and the Cleveland Indians. I really want to put the Yanks higher, but anytime you have 3 teams playing with 8-2 in their last 10 and 2 white-hot teams, I can't go against it as much as I don't want to. So Yankees and Indians are number 4. What do you say on that?
Total agreement. No doubt about it. Yeah, you hit a home run on this one, Florio. No doubt about it. I got no arguments here. You definitely nailed it. So nothing more to say. Let's just move on. And I guess I'll lead off as we're now in the top 3. My number 3, Anthony, you said it. This is one of those 8-2 teams that you were talking about. I gotta say it. Washington Nationals, 16-7. Yes, they got the best record in the league. Or do they have the best record in the league? Actually, they're pretty tight. By percentage points, they have the best record in all of baseball right now. At 16-7, a win percentage of .696, 8-2 in the last 10 games, but a crucial loss, a devastating loss to the New York Mets of all teams that got them tonight, 7-5, and that cost them. I'll openly admit it. That cost them the number 1 spot. If it wasn't for that, I think the Nationals would be number 1. But they lost, so that took them. That knocked them off the number 1 perch. Going into tonight, they were the number 1 team. With that loss, they dropped 2 spots to number 3. Nothing more to say. Florio, go.
Yeah, I agree 100%. It is the Washington Nationals. 16-7, 8-2 in the last 10 games, but that loss to the Mets, that was the killer. And MF, you're absolutely right. You talk about me hitting a home run a moment ago. You just hit a home run here. You being the Joe Buck of when it comes to our baseball coverage. I mean, yeah, you said it, Joe. If the Nationals don't lose to the Mets, they would have been number 1. hands down. They're number. I mean, they have the best batting average of any team at 284. They also lead the league in runs scored at 144. But it's the pitching that really needs work. I can't believe I'm saying that when you have a Cy Young winner and Max Scherzer and the whole 9 yards. 16th in home runs allowed, 25, and they're 25th in team ERA at 4.37. I mean, that surprises me. But they did start, rather slowly. They started up and down the first couple of weeks, but the last couple of weeks, oh boy. They did have a 7-game winning streak from Easter Sunday through the 23rd, and then it was snapped by the Rockies on the 24th, losing 8-4. And then that 3-game stretch against Colorado, Tuesday through Thursday, when they outscored them 42-21 in those 3 games. And then they lost to the Mets. If they didn't lose to the Mets, they would wholeheartedly would have been number 1, hands down. But they have 2 more against the Mets this weekend. They're off Monday, and then they welcome the Arizona Diamondbacks for a 3-gamer starting on Tuesday. And then on next Friday, they go to Philadelphia. They go to Philadelphia against a white-hot Phillies team at Citizens Bank Park. Major NL East and power ranking implications in that one. Believe that. So that is it. Number 3, it is the Washington Nationals. Number 2, I do apologize. I meant to say, I thought this team, even though the record isn't there, 12-11, they're only half a game out of first in the Central. I thought this team was not doing good, but they're actually playing much better than I thought. St. Louis Cardinals, number 2, Uncle Ed, Didi Woodson. Yes, winners of 3 in a row, 8-2 in their last 10 games. They're 8th in home runs allowed at 22, 14th in batting average at 246, 15th in runs scored, 95, and also 15th in ERA at 3.99. But I'll tell you, man, they started off really, really slow. They started the year 2-6. 2-6, maybe like 3-9. But since that 3-9 start, they have caught fire. They've gone 9-2. After getting swept by the Yankees in the stadium, they win 3 in a row against Pittsburgh, all by a score of 2-1. Every single game, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1. And then they win and then they take 3 out of 4 from Milwaukee, in Milwaukee. And then they lose to Toronto on Tuesday. Then they get rained out Wednesday, and then they sweep a day-night doubleheader on Thursday. And then they follow that up with a win against the Reds tonight, 7-5. 2 more games against the Reds this weekend, and then they got Milwaukee coming in for a 4-gamer starting Monday. And then next week, they go to Atlanta in the brand new SunTrust Park to take on Michael Fletcher's Atlanta Braves. And the Braves actually, they're up and down, but so we'll see what happens. But for right now, my number 2, it is the St. Louis Cardinals. So MF, I know you got to agree with that.
Yeah, St. Louis Cardinals is my number 2, no doubt about it. No arguments from here. And that only leaves one team left. And they've been white hot, like you said, Anthony, no doubt about it. And they're deserving of this number 1 spot. They've swept 6 in a. They've won 6 in a row. They actually did the business to Atlanta, swept us, which really got me really disgusted. And then they did a sweep of, and then they swept the Miami Marlins right out. Gave them a 3-game losing streak. And, well, here it is, guys. The new number 1, the Philadelphia Phillies, the Fighting Phils. They got number 1, 8-2 in the last, the 8-2 in the last 10 games, winners of 6 in a row. Right now, they're playing against the LA Dodgers, and I don't know what the score is.
They're actually losing. They're losing 5-3 in the 9th.
It's too late. It's too, or is it too late? We
can change this. We can change this pick if we want. I think St. Louis should be number 1 and Philly should be number 2. That's what I think.
Well, I didn't want to do it, but it looks like it is.
I don't think they're coming back from that.
Well, there's only two out.
outs.
Yeah, they're down to the last out. Actually, let's just hold on a second, folks, because if this game goes final, then we might have a shuffled deck here in a minute. So I'm just waiting because I'm watching this on the on deck. Let's see, do they have this live on Quick Pitch or something like that? No, they don't. So I'm watching this right now via what they have is the MLB at bat. So I'm watching this. It's just basically the situation here. So there's 1 out, 1 ball, 1 strike, and Kenley Jansen is pitching to Cameron Rupp, and now it's 1 ball, 2 strikes with 2 outs. Oh my goodness, could we have a new number 1 in just a matter of moments? Because like we said, the Philadelphia Phillies was going to be number 1, but now it looks like if they lose this game, then it actually will be St. Louis number 1. This is a first. Have we ever had a moment where a number 1 loses its spot like within seconds?
I don't believe in the 5-year history of this show that has ever happened.
No, this is a first. We're about to make a Strictly Sports history. A number one team in a power rankings could literally lose their number 1 ranking during us analyzing the power rankings, and at this point, so it's a 2 ball, 2 strike count, and the game is over. Strikeout. Kenley Jansen gets the save. The Dodgers wins 5-3 over the Philadelphia Phillies, and
You have a new number 1.
yeah, we've literally have just done a reshuffle right before our very eyes. So now that means Washington is 3, Philadelphia falls to 2, and St. Louis is the new number 1.
About it.
How? Wow. So congratulations, St. Louis. About 2 or 3 minutes ago, you guys were number 2. You just went to number 1. Congratulations.
Yep.
There's nothing more to say.
Well, I do want to get into. I already ran down what Philadelphia was doing. They're 10th in batting average, 253, 15th in runs scored, 95, 21st in ERA, 4.13, and 25th in home runs allowed at 29. So let's see. I ran down all the results. So they did lose to the Dodgers tonight. So they have 2 more against the Dodgers this weekend in LA. And then it does not get any easier. Then they got to go to Chicago and play the champion Cubs for 4 in a row. And then if that wasn't bad enough, then they're gonna have Washington coming in. They got a murderer's row schedule over the next week. Dodgers, the champion Cubs, and the Nationals. Oofa. But nonetheless, Philadelphia Phillies are now number 2. St. Louis Cardinals are number 1. We already ran down their numbers, so that's it. So that puts a bow on this edition of Strictly Sports. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. And here's another first. I've already got the docket for next week's show, although we kind of already knew what was going to happen. Derek Ferreira just officially confirmed it to me just a moment ago. So I'll get into that in just a moment. Let's have MF do his shout-outs first, and then I'll run it all down. So what do we got coming up, MF?
Well, first off, I want to say thank you to all the great fans out there that watches and loves the show, guys. You guys are the best fans in the world. You guys already know that. To the super fans out there, love you guys. To the friends of the junior high and high school days, you guys are awesome. 2184 crew, you guys are amazing. There's really nothing more to say. It's just one of those situations. Much love, much appreciation, and yeah, you guys are awesome. And I'll say this. I know Anthony and Michael Bullock are going to be probably doing a preview of Payback tomorrow. Unfortunately, due to commitments beyond my control, I will not be able to do it. Um, I'm gonna have a little get together because Sunday is my birthday. So tentatively, right now, I'm out for the recap. I can't guarantee you that I will be back in time for it. If I do, then I'll be there for the recap. But chances are, at least I want to say I'm about maybe it's about 60-40 I'm out. I'm putting it at those type of odds. 60-40 I'm out. Um but I will be back Monday night for Ridiculously Raw. I will not miss that show at all. So until then, have a good night. Hugs and hand pounds. I'm out. Anthony, it's yours.
What about the Ranger Roundup coming up for game 2 against Ottawa? Because we got the game today.
We're gonna have to figure that out. Like I said, because I'm working, then I'm probably hanging out. So I don't really know if we're gonna have a Ranger Roundup. What we might have to do is a first where we might have to cover game 2 and game 3 together. I mean,
Monday.
On Monday, that's possible. We're just gonna have to do it maybe 10:30 prior to the Raw recap.
Fair enough. That's probably what we're going to have to do. So,
Yeah.
Anyways, special shout out to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there. MF, you might want to stick around for this because we got some interesting stuff coming up that I want to make sure you know about. I want to share it with all of you. So, yeah, special shout out to all of our fans out there who make our shows what they are, our tremendous fans out there. You are the best fans in the world. We always say that. Dee Woodson, Kevin Woodson, and the entire Woodson family, Matt Ward, Jason Hicksonbaugh, Daniel Luttrell from the UK, our other First Ladies, Kaiser Butler, Megan Silva, and Lexi Calloway, and our crew members, Tommy Souza, Eric Carrier, Jimmy Alden, Al Bradison, and Rob Parsons, and of course, the man himself, Derek Ferreira. And he asked us to share a special shout out to EDP 445 because thanks to his latest video, which Derek went on a rant about, he garnered over 45. Derek garnered 4,500 views. Mocking 445. So thank you, EDP 445, the stupid idiot of stupid idiots and mutton heads. I mean,
Hey,
ammo.
Yeah, and the thing is that I didn't get it why Derek and this rivalry was going on, but after I saw the video, I got it. And I'm fully on Derek Ferreira's side on this one. Derek, I got your back. Don't worry about it, brother. Yes, there's been some moments where this guy has really got under our skin. And, you know, I'm going to say this. If you thought he was bad, you should see some of the Chicago Bear fans after the Mitchell Trubisky thing broke out last night. Oh, my word. That's all I'm saying. I'm going to save all my ammunition for next Friday night, but because there's a few things I need to get off my chest. Not tonight.
And next week it's going to be one of the broadcasts where you get.
Oh, I love this. I love this. You know, Anthony, there's always a few episodes in that entire year that you get amped about. Michael Bullock gets amped about.
Absolutely.
I mean, for me, the NFL schedule release and the draft specials. When we talk about the NBA and the NFL, these are my favorite events of the year that I really get amped about because I am really knee deep. Excuse me. I really get knee deep into these things because I follow college football a lot of college football. So I know a lot of these guys, and this is where you really get to see me go into professor mode next week.
Absolutely. And let me see. Actually, hold on, MF. I stand corrected. When it comes to the Senator Rangers series, game 2 is today, yes, but game 3 is actually Tuesday, not Monday. So, so we'll have to maybe we could hold it off until Tuesday, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But and then game 4 is Thursday. Game 5, if it's needed, would be next Saturday. And then Tuesday, May 9th is game 6. And then Thursday, May 11th is game 7. So
Okay, then let's do this. Let's do this. Monday night, we recap game 2 at 10:30 Eastern prior to your show.
Right.
And then because I'm off on Tuesday, we can do it at the regular time. We'll just do it because we'll do the SmackDown recap. I have no Mikey's mindset because there's nothing going on, at least when it comes to RWA or anything else. So after the SmackDown recap is done, we'll do the Ranger Roundup right there.
Perfect. Okay. All right. So getting back to the shout outs, of course, I ran down our personal shout outs, and then all of our personalities over at 6, 10, and 12, FS1, MLB Network, NHL Network, NBA TV, NFL Network. And I also want to send out condolences to those several individuals who were laid off by ESPN. So really great talent. I feel bad for a lot of those folks. Some of them were personal favorites of mine, and it is what it is. And I want to wish them all nothing but the absolute best and in their future endeavors, wherever they end up. So major shout outs to all of those at ESPN, some of those guys and gals who got, who unfortunately had to get pink slipped, but it is what it is. So wish you all the best. And I pray that, everything works out for all of you. Lindsay McCormick, Stata Sorrell, Julie Alexandria, Chantel McKay from the Golf Channel, my friends from the Road Show, Will Gilbert, Brendan Kirby, and Michaela Johnson, along with the former co-host Megan Mooney and Mary Larson, and my wonderful church family at Oasis of Grace Ministries on 464 Silver Spring Street in Providence. If you need a church home, check them out. Exit 25 off Route 95. Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Bible study, 10 a.m. service. Wednesday night at 7, Bible study, and then some other things going on. So love them all to death. I'm looking forward to seeing them Sunday morning as always. And that's it. So that'll do it for this edition of Strictly Sports. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. Of course, sometime Bullock and I will have to figure it out, our preview of Payback. And then we'll have the recap show following the event on Sunday night. And then Monday, MF and I will have our Game 2 Ranger Roundup, and then Ridiculously Raw. And then Tuesday, we will have the Cerebral Smack Talk and our Game 3 Ranger Roundup. And then we're off on Wednesday. And then maybe Thursday, we'll have our Game 4 Ranger Roundup. And then next week, here on Strictly Sports, next Friday night, our complete NFL draft recap. Simple as that. And then we'll go from there. So that's it. So until sometime later tonight for our Payback preview, Bullock and I have to work out the details on that. So as soon as we have that, we'll let you folks know. So that's it. So until later tonight for our Payback preview with Anthony. Oh, Michael Bullock.
How does 10:30 sound?
What time did you say?
10:30.
10:30 did you say?
Yeah, for the Payback preview.
10:30 works for me if it works for you.
Well, I came up with the idea of 10:30, so if that's all right with you, then it's certainly all right with me.
Yeah, that's more than fine. So there you go. 10:30 then tonight for our for our payback preview, and then we'll of course have the recap Sunday following the event. And it looks like we're going to be without MF for both of those shows because it is his birthday weekend after all. So there you go. So that's it. So now until 10:30 tonight for our payback preview, it's Anthony Florio here for Michael Borges, Derek Goodall, MF, Michael Fletcher, Derek Ferreira, and of course D.D. Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up Fortune Forest style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Bullock, I'm sure you will agree with all my shout outs that I just did. I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Just want to make sure you didn't get left out. So that's it. So until then, bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed weekend. Have a blessed Saturday. And until our payback preview video coming up, you've been watching Strictly Sports right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com. And remember, like I always say, for now, Anthony Florio